It is about almost 20 minutes after the hour of 1 o'clock here at 88.3 FM. I want to thank MP Remo for stepping through and giving her opinions and everything that's going on the campaign trail. Keeping you guys informed and telling you why you should vote for number 8 on the National Alliance slate, the advocate who's looking to elevate. You know, said this right in the rap period. I am now joined by the number 2 candidate on the Nation Opportunity Wealth Party, the No Party, the Yellow Party, the Dabba Red MP, Claudius. And I always keep it there as MP because
that's what I am.
That's what he
Some want to state a lot of different things, but the reality gonna slam them in their face come January 11th.
Tell them I can look more towards you.
Okay, all right.
MP Claudius Buncamper, affectionately known as Stone Church. Good afternoon, MP. How you doing?
I am doing wonderful, Mike. After the meeting from last night in Soccer Garden, where we turn up the garden.
I drove by because France had me here in the studio till late. Cussing people and talking things that are going on in the country. I was dead tired. So, but give me your opinion. That was your first public meeting for the North?
First meeting for a new party, and you know, like how you say, parties can be sold out.
Yes.
You know, parties sell out their dance, and so that's what we had. We had a huge crowd, a good crowd,
nice.
a interacting crowd. Not a crowd sitting in the cars alone and blowing horns. Yes, we had a lot of people sitting in the cars. We had a lot of people around the stage too. Right. We had people, you know, people always like to stay in the dark. They want to come in the light. Yeah. But again, at the end of the day, I think we had a very good crowd. It gave the candidates a lot of confidence of going on stage. Mm-hmm. I think the candidates delivered. You know, besides Chris and myself, there are no real seasoned. Okay, we have Lyndon that joined that has a little season. Tatiana has been around the arena.
Right.
Mingret has been around the political arena. Yeah. So there are some people that have been around the arena but not in the arena.
Right.
And me and Chris have been in the arena itself, slugging, you know, against each other or with each other now.
Yeah.
And you learn to deal with stage fright. True. In different ways.
Yeah.
But I must say, I was very happy with the presentation of the candidates last night. I myself, being the MC, I had a lot of time to talk, a lot of time to throw political shots also.
Too much time.
But it was good because I wanted to bring home the message in the neighborhood of some of the big candidates on the NA list that you got to stop lying to people. Yeah. You can't keep selling a story because stories die eventually. But there's a saying, you know, tell a lie long enough and the lie becomes the truth. Right. So I have to regulate those lies and put them in their place. People taking how would I say, credit for things that they haven't done. And today, you know, I understood a little young boy was on Grace ranting and raving, but I gave a contract to the sewage plants for 200 million. I don't give contracts. I think the little boy just forget how he does lie. Because he was the one, when he was explaining Alegria on Billy D, he said, the minister decides. So how come Buncamper gave the contract?
Yeah.
Because in all tenders that I have ever done, every time we did a tender, the governor in Country St. Martin checked it and signed off. He's the one that suddenly came with a new thing that the governor don't need to check nothing. Yeah. The minute Dr. Randis Holiday left, no more tenders are being checked. They're going to Eswa Bay and all that. No. The governor, who's part of the government, was that check and balance. Yeah. But again, you know, younger generation, maybe new rules, they change them, nobody know when the change was made, or let me rephrase, like how they said, we didn't understand the law.
Yeah.
That's basically what I'm down to.
That's giving you a lot of power. I didn't know you had so much power.
Well, that's the thing. If I can give contracts, then why do I need a minister? I don't need a minister if I can give the contract. I don't need a governor if I can give the contract. I don't need a council of ministers if I can give. So, you know, he has to stop lying. But again, I understand. When you can't beat me with accomplishments, because he said I should list my accomplishments. I have worked for government, but from whenever he wants. Listen, I have done more outside of Parliament than when I was in Parliament for the public of St. Martin, informing them, explaining them what's going on. You see, these guys want me to engage with them, to step away from my task. My task is to sell the manifesto of the Now, to explain to people what the Now is going to do for this country.
So let's stick to that.
You know, when you read a headline, for example, today, he's extending the 6-month limit for signing deeds by the notary.
But is the situation not resolved?
Cannot be resolved because the idiot didn't make a correct policy, a policy where there's inclusion, not exclusion for family and friends,
right,
where everybody has a fair chance and there's transparency. And all those people he had promised, the 6 months pass. So he can't give it to them no more. So to prevent that, he trying to slide in an extension. Tell the people the truth. Thing or hot.
So last night on the stage, when your turn came up to speak,
yeah,
what was your? If all of us wasn't there, so if you want to repeat it again,
I had a long thing, but I did not speak really on stage because I was the MC. In between candidates, I gave pointers and I explained my position. But I think a few things are very important that I would like to still touch. And one of them, for example, is GB.
Right.
GB in the sense of we have a lot of people owe GB. And you hear them talking about, oh, we're going to make proposals for GB. The most important proposal for GB is that GB goes into renewable energies, alternative energies. Yeah. And that can be solar, wind, or waste to energy. We should take at least 40% to 50% of GB's production and make it renewable or alternative or waste energy, whichever one. Yeah. And the reason I'm saying that is Holland put 200 million euros available. Yeah. That if you're going to go into a transition of energy where we are going to clean energy and we are walking away from fossil fuel, which is wind and solar, not waste energy, because waste energy does have the pollution that you shoot out with a chimney, you will be subsidized. It's a grant. But we ain't doing that. We talk about all kind of other things. Suddenly we reach the housing vision, so we're going to pick up land that GB bought for very specific reasons. And say that that's his vision. The man has no vision.
Well, how long would it take to put of a long-term thing?
Solar panels? I think if we...
Any type of renewable energy?
No, solar panels is a very simple one. In my opinion, I say simple because we need maybe 5 companies, 6, 7 companies that will do installation of solar panels on the people's roofs. I think we should take 5,000 homes and put solar panels on them.
Right.
And the solar panels are connected to the GB grid, not to a battery in your house. You pay your normal GB bill. Yeah. You will see the difference twofold. One, because I'm using your house, your roof, I'm going to give you a 10 or 20% discount on your electricity bill in the consumption, or let me rephrase, in the fuel clause aspect. You will realize that if you are producing 20 megawatts on a roof, that is a 40% saving on fuel. That means from the $7 million you spend a month to pay for heavy fuel and diesel, you just saved $2.8 million a month. The up talking about, let's give them 2 million guilders a year so they could give 20,000 people 1,000 guilders to write off on their debt. And I'm saying, no, let's do it the right way. Let's use the people's roofs. Put the solars there. You know what it means? That you get 40% credit on your existing fuel clause, and then on top of that, you might get another 20% because we're using your roof. Your bill goes down significantly. The savings of approximately $34 million per year by GB can go towards the government.
Who provided the panels? The company?
Sorry?
Who provided panels for the roof?
We do that through the program from the Netherlands. They made 200 million euros available.
Right, okay.
And we give work to contractors. Yeah. And what you do with GB employees is you transition them from working on engines to working with solar panels and making sure that everything remains solid. Right. This is how you talk transitioning from fossil to climate friendly. Right. So you want to talk about climate change, you want to talk about SDGs, this is the way to go. Right. Instead of just running your mouth with things that you don't understand.
What about more immediate solutions for GE?
None of them are immediate. None of them are like switch.
That can be done now? I mean, or
inject finances into GB, take a loan, inject finances, and let GB a bailout, and let GB send that bailout towards its customers.
Yeah.
You can do something like that, but it is not the solution.
Right.
Listen, when I give you something for free, you don't add value to it.
Right.
When you work for it, when you make a sacrifice for it, you will add value to it. You will take care of it. I think that's the concept we need to look at.
Right.
We can't give handouts because it's election time.
Yeah.
We do that all the time. We like to give handouts for elections because, hey, you hope they vote for you then. Mm-hmm. But you get the government you don't deserve anymore. Right. Because they are just there and pay you and govern. But they're not governing for you. Right. They're governing for them and for those that gave them the money to pay you. Because that's what they govern for then. You see, and that's why I was so happy when Chris asked them during the debate, so where the money come from for you to run this style campaign? You got billboards out there worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. You all are running a lot of meet and greets. You can't do that off your salary. So whomever is giving you the money want something in return. Let us not confuse each other. Let's not lie to each other. Been in politics long enough, I've seen it. So please.
What was your opinion of the debate?
I think the debate, it might sound a little biased, but I think Christopher Emmanuel, my leader, did a hell of a job. He held himself.
So everybody's of the same opinion.
And, he showed maturity and knowledge. He did not step away from his love for country. He stood steadfast there. Others started bobbing and weaving. When things got hot, the Prime Minister didn't know where to go. When she even said, our country is now in black again. And Marcelina nearly fainted beside her. Because that's a blatant lie. The audit chamber, the general audit chamber, and the CFT just said, that stunt you pulled with the year accounts of 2021 is unacceptable. Go and fix it. So that naturally affected the books of 2022 and even the books of 2023. But you go up there with a bold face and you lie about it. Pinocchio has to stop this. The amount of lies that they are spewing is ridiculous. And I understand it's election time, but let's stop giving the people a 619. We have tried in our manifesto, and I believe we have achieved it because a lot of people have called us. A lot of people called me personally and said, Buncamper, this is one of the best manifestos we have seen in a long time. You show where you're going to get the money to do what you said you're going to do. Now, that's what makes a manifesto worth something. Because when you go into a governing program with another party, at least you can show how we can make the money to execute the programs, like the pre-clearance, like the Ministry of Agriculture, like the legalization of weed. I even heard the up take credit for pushing for legalization of cannabis weed. And you know why I laughed? Because the last election, not a man was touching it. They were so afraid of it. It was a taboo. It was this, it was that. And I told them, I believe it can be done. So I am going to push for it. It would have now. Today, we could have had a tolerance policy and we were well on our way for legalization if this government didn't play games. Because they played games with it. The minute I was suspended, boom, they ain't touch it again. Because before that, I had pressure on them and they didn't want a confrontation with me. Because I hit hard when I hit.
But it is now a multi-billion-dollar economy.
And only we, on one hand in the coalition, on the NA side, they're fighting against it. And on the upside, they're trying to give it out to a company in Canada. And that's unfortunate. Because the legalization of cannabis, the legalization or the production of hemp, to do certain industries in this country would have made our own people rich. And what's wrong with our own people becoming wealthy? That's why we are nation opportunity of wealth. So we look for things that we believe our people can become wealthy. We have to give them the opportunity. Because right now, the opportunities are very scarce, if any at all. So, this is our philosophy going forward.
You're a few days out from the elections. This is not your first rodeo, of course. In the last couple of days, is there something you just do? Because right now we've heard from so much people about so much things and so much solutions, proposed solutions. Is there something you personally and your team will do? I don't even want to give away no secrets and stuff like that. In this last stretch, when it comes to the people, to make sure you drag that message home and hold that momentum.
Yeah. Mike, I think you're just as versed in this as me. You win elections on election day.
On the day itself.
On the day itself, you win. But you can bring out a lot of people if you have a real message. A message not only of hope, because that's the problem. We like to give a message of hope.
Right.
No, we have to give a message that is resounding, that it is not hope alone, but it's going to become the reality. I hear them, give me another 4 years in government alone, and we're going to show you what we could do. You had 6. You had 6 people in government. You couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You said, I will never work with those that you're working with now. You're a liar. Yeah. You're untrustworthy. Why would the people of Samartan give you another 4 years? The people of Samartan do understand that there are parties out there that can make a difference. And that's the message we got to send. There is a difference available. There is a change available. Use that change. Look, the Now Party, are we going to get 8 seats? I hope so.
Yeah.
And I hope we can convince enough people to get 8 seats. But I try to remain a realist. And I look at what's happening out there.
Yes.
But I know one thing I can tell you with quite some confidence. The Now will be part of the next government. Come January 11th, with our results,
right,
we will be strong enough to sit in a driver's seat and say, we are going to run the next government. That's the message. The message of you belong. You're included in the opportunities to make wealth. We have shown you how it can be done in our manifestos. And when we go on stage in the districts, while you always have some politicking going on, we try to send the message of the manifesto. Right. We try to explain what we want to do with agriculture, fisheries, and animal husbandry by creating a ministry and not have it someplace on the back burner in Tiat.
Right.
Because that's what it is right now.
Yeah.
There's nobody doing nothing of substance that you can say, hey, I can build an economical pillar on it.
Yeah.
That's not there.
Right.
We are saying agriculture must become a part of the new economical diversification of this country. We stand by that. We believe in that. And we believe that we need to transform, for example, on the airport, the pre-clearance. And the Prime Minister could come up there and say all kind of things. She did that just to shoot down the position of the Now Party. The problem is, she isn't credible anymore. Pinocchio isn't credible. She might not like that statement, but that's the statement that people use out there. I mean, my leader went much further. He said she's not a woman of state. She's the woman that has us in this state.
Right.
And when you ask yourself the simple question, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? When this government got in, the answer is a resounding no. And sure, you have some diehard followers that are friends and family that have been fed for 4 years. Mm-hmm. So for them, everything is cool. Yeah. But for their neighbor who has been starving and has put themselves in financial debt, things ain't cool.
Yeah, I always like to say to you, I myself as a host have been getting a lot of critiques out there from, but you may have done 1 or 2 little things here along the way in the 4 years, but how practical and did it really touch the people? And that is why people will jump up there and tell you, no, my life hasn't been better, and your sole purpose of being elected is to make your people's lives better. It's hard for them to understand that.
Mike, I'll give you an example. Last night on stage, I didn't even put it in that perspective.
Yeah.
Because I told the minister when he said, oh, we have increased AOV with 98 guilders, and we're now going to 1,324. There was a candidate that came up and said, my husband is a retiree taxi driver that gets AOV. Mm-hmm. His AOV per month is 54 guilders. Can't even put a half a tank of gasoline.
Yeah.
How did you really help him?
Yeah.
How did you... You see, you do things, but if it's not helping you, you say, I raised minimum wage, so did utilities, so did food, so did everything else raised, and it raised more than you raised yours.
Yeah, that's right.
Because when you look at what has happened with COLA over the years, the cost of living adjustment, when you just look at GB, man, that 4% or that 1% is a joke. It's a joke. Because GB didn't go up by 1%, GB went up by many percents because of the fuel clause. So you have to understand that when you do cost of living adjustment, you look at so many different things. You look at food, you look at housing, you look at utilities, transportation, health. All of those things are factors that decide cost of living. And so when you go out there and you talk something, talk it all. Put in perspective, because it is better that you create a subsidy system that we have opted as a now to do, and help people build together, because you can't destroy the business by telling them, well, you got till April to figure it out. Business ain't gonna figure it out. Business is gonna just start laying off people. They're gonna reach by you looking for social welfare. So when you don't think through the whole thing, these are the problems you get.
My issue though is how they take it personal. I mean, we're not taking it.
It's not personal.
We're not doing. It's not personal. But for me, I'm speaking from a perspective of a small business owner, and I know a couple of one place, in particular, I'm not gonna call their name, already done said, well, I just employ minimum wage people, and I already said I'm gonna have to lay off one or two of them. The government should offer me no incentive alongside this so-called hike in minimum wage. It's not the goal to raise a minimum wage is noble, it's admirable.
Sure,
but
it's necessary. Look, it's necessary, Mike. But
if you don't,
if it doesn't, look, exactly, that's the problem. We just jump out of one way because it sounds good. It was just like the Saha. It sounded good. Where'd be? Where'd be? Because all those taxi drivers and bus drivers that went and signed or have to sign come January, this January or just passed, that they must be SFV insured, ain't happening. It's a farce. It's a hoax. It's a lie. But this is the government we have. This is what they are doing. Because they believe it's politically sounding well, and people come and vote for me. Stop giving them a 6 for a 9. Stop giving them pie in the sky. Tell them the truth. I always say, if somebody is informed, no matter how bad the news, at least they can prepare for the situation they are going to face. You know, the nastiness they did with the people in TLM, because it was nasty. It isn't business. It's nasty that you will not tell them before Christmas that you plan to fire them after Christmas. And then the Prime Minister goes along and says, yeah, but I knew of that. GB, 1 week before Christmas, you send out disconnection bills. And then you come and send a debate. But I knew it. But it was for the big businesses to pay. But we know who the big businesses are. 50 of them are in GB. Send them a letter. Why put out a publication to instill fear in people? Why? But you care and you're working for them? Exactly. I mean, come on, let's be honest with each other. If this is the way you're going to govern, then don't govern. Then really do not govern, because it makes no sense. But again, like I said, they always used to say that Christopher was a fearmonger. Well, I've never seen fearmongering like I've seen it now. Because Chris this, oi this, that one, that one. Well, please, all you got to do is show your accomplishments. Not the ones from NRPB, not the ones from Holland, not the ones from the central bank. Show yours. And the answer is, I ain't got. That's it.
I saw you release something, just to switch subject for a minute, MP. You released something today that concerns me. I don't think it concerns enough people. You released a video about the infrastructure, etc., with solutions and suggestions. So part of that video is climate change. Okay? Now, as a small island nation, I just wonder if people realize what's going on around the world with climate change. Our footprint doesn't affect, have a very little effect on climate change. It's the bigger country, what they do and stuff that we are suffering on here. But there's several students have shown projections, for example, where in 20, 30 years, fuel science projects, stuff like that, Simsimi, for example,
doesn't exist.
Or the airport, for example,
doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
Phillipsburg in 2070 or 2080 doesn't exist.
And I'm wondering, do we not understand what's coming in the next few decades? And you mentioned it in your video, so what are you proposing to happens now? Because we're only a few decades away.
Mike, politicians have strange guidelines in life. Self-preservation, self-enrichment. That's what they think about. I am not a career politician.
Right.
I was going to run one term and then I got suspended. I didn't finish what I wanted. And that's why I'm running.
You said that.
But it is not my intention after this to run.
Right.
Again, what I wanted is to bring consciousness to a problem that is not going away.
No, sir.
You know, I know a lot of politicians used to put a head in the sand and hope the problem pass. Then they don't have to touch it. A lot of people, we have hot topics that are right now by the Supreme Court
Right.
that you didn't hear anybody touch because it's a taboo topic.
Right.
I'm not going to talk about it today because that's not relevant for me.
Right.
Climate change is a reality. I think Mia Motley said it best. We are surrounded by water. And the most dangerous thing right now with climate change is the rising sea level. And you got to keep that in consideration. You can build for a lot of things, but you can't build dams all around your island.
Right.
Because if you do that, you will just have water outside and a dam. So we're going to have to build those lifts to bring in boats and so. I mean, look.
Like a canal. Like a
Yes,
canal.
exactly. We gotta be. We have to start understanding what we're up against. Coastal protection is something that we need to work with. Yet we are ripping away all the greenery on the beach sides, which means everything goes. When you see hillsides being excavated, emptied, that means all of that silt is kind of come down. Look, I understand, and I've always said it. The most difficult fight that you have is what we call the E square, the economy versus the environment.
Yeah.
People just tell you, I can't eat the environment. I need the economy to eat. And I always told them, when you replace the environment for the economy, you become like Haiti. You chop down all the trees for charcoal, and then you have flood after flood, slide after slide, death after death.
That's right.
This is what happens. But you see, we allow big contractors, and that's why the question from Chris was, how you paying for the campaign? Because it is those people that giving you that money are the ones that are doing the most destruction in the environment on this country. Yeah. They're the ones that using whole hillsides to build. Yeah. And I'm saying nothing against nobody. The Buncampers got a lot of hillside land. You will see us building it up.
Right.
There are certain things we said, this we're going to preserve. We will try to use as little a footprint as possible to get something out, out of the land. Right. But again, sometimes we allow greed to supersede reality for the country. And this is what's happening now. We talk a big talk, but we have no clue what we are talking about. You see, if you don't understand climate change, it's going to be difficult. You can run. That's why I started using the word split tongue. We talk about, sustainable development goals, and we're doing this, and we ain't doing nothing, sweetheart. People are hungry. People don't have homes. And we are destroying this country environmentally, that climate change is going to take the better of us. Yeah. This is the problem we have. And I'm not saying you're going to cut your nose to spite your face and start to clamp down. But we need to transition to a more greener economy than the robust, heavy-duty infrastructure economy we have today. We're going to have to transition it. And that's something that can take a decade or two. It's going to happen overnight. It's not a light switch. Right. People, their livelihoods depend on what's happening now. But we don't have to continue going into that development. We have to start diversifying. Do things a little different. Find different ways of making money so that your people can have a better paying job. And because tourism, that's a business that is run on minimum wage. Yeah, the top 5 or 10 are rich. The other 90% is all minimum wage. Yeah. Otherwise, it doesn't make no money and nobody doing it. Yeah. That's the industry we are in. Yeah. Even Simbats and Anguilla are starting to feel it because Simbats is getting overpopulated because they are bringing in people to work now. Yeah. And it costing them a pretty penny. And, a businessman, he always looks at the bottom line. The bottom line, good, he ain't doing it no more. Yeah. That's the reality. But
it hit home because I saw the last year during one of the world conferences, the governor, the mayor, whoever from Tuvalu, that's one of the islands that is almost underwater.
Underwater already, yes.
He stood up and he spoke in the UN from in the middle of those, what was once a road or whatever, water up to his waist.
Yes. You see, what's happening, eh?
To me, it's just so scary to just envision the people of Simpson Bay, for example, having to evacuate Simpson Bay in a few decades because the water is just
Look, just
taking over.
put it in perspective.
At all?
All hurricane, all heavy rain, Beacon Hill underwater, and you can't get it out.
That's right.
You can't even get it out. Because on one side is the runway and on the other side is the houses.
Yeah,
so you got to start pumping. We build right onto the coastline. And this is not slack on this government because climate change is not only about this government.
No.
Climate change is going to be about the next 10 governments. Yeah. How do you work
exactly.
towards a solution? This is not about me versus you. This is about country Samantha not becoming underwater city.
Yeah.
We already put a lot of monuments underwater there by Little Bay.
Yeah.
Let's leave that for underwater and not Simpson Bay or Phillipsburg or Lowlands. You know, we got to be honest.
Yeah.
Yes, we have hills, but you got to be careful that you don't lose all your coastal areas unnecessarily.
Correct. Because it does not mean that we should be playing a more of a regional role, like when you see Mia goes out to the different conferences and stuff. I mean, I think the Caribbean as a whole.
I think that's where we got to go.
Yeah.
You know, look, CARICOM.
Yeah.
CARICOM is a good carrying voice for the Caribbean. We have Guyana, Trinidad. Now, remember, Trinidad is one of the big polluters also, and Guyana is going to become one with the oil they're doing now.
That's right.
So let us not fool ourselves.
Yeah. So we're going to contribute, actually, to the climate change.
As region, yes. As region, most probably, yes. But we all have our responsibility. Yeah. And as St. Martin, that's why I keep talking about this renewable energy with solar, because if we can bring down our carbon footprint, it has financial value. Because if you own carbon credits, you can sell them to people in the world or to countries in the world, and you can supplement your budget. There are ways of doing things. But you see, clearly this government has no clue what carbon credits mean, how you can work with them, what renewable energy means. They don't understand it. Some of them are running their mouth and we this and you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
You see, people like Tatio Bayerofoots are people that I love to have a discussion with, or with Thompson, Ruben. I love to have a discussion with them because while we might oppose each other sometimes, and I might be a little more infrastructure friendly than they might be, but at the end of the day, we do understand the value of the environment. Yeah. And if you don't understand it, you cannot protect it.
Yeah, I think it's a real problem. Now
it is.
More people talking about it, like it's scary. When you think of the possible consequences in a few
You know, Mike, it tells you the population you're dealing with.
Yeah.
When you see how we treat animals, it tells you the population you're dealing with. It says a lot. Yeah. No, look, I love dogs, but I can't have a yard full because I don't have the time to go play with all of them. I got a few of them and that difficult. I got 4 grandchildren too, and it take a lot of my time. So, you know, Mike, but I'm saying you don't need to chain a dog in the hot sun without any water. Yeah. Why put him on a chain? Build a fence. Yeah. Otherwise, don't take the dog. You know, these are the type of things. Same goes with cats. Look at the amount of stray animals we have. So in our manifesto, we touch animal cruelty because it's animal cruelty. Get your animals paid. You know, do something. Yeah. But you can't, listen, they're alive. They have a beating heart. Right. They're not a human being. Right. But dogs are known as man's best friend. The most loyal thing you can have, mostly in your life, is your dog.
Yeah, and psychologists have also said, you know, how you treat animals is a reflection of how you treat people.
Exactly. Yes. And that's why I said, when we have a country where animal cruelty can be so high up on the agenda, and you constantly hear people complaining about it, especially visitors that come from developed countries where this is not the norm. I'm not saying everybody is doing this intentionally, but there are some people, they just don't care. And I'm saying, then take the animal to the vet, leave somebody that loves the animal, adopt the animal. I want to give a special big up to St. Martin Paws, my cousin Dorette and them. They really, you know,
so much
the work they do, you know, you gotta praise them. If the Daily Herald didn't know who to make Person of the Year, St. Martin Paws was a great opportunity. Yes. Because They do it year in, year out, you know. And but to give an example, I think it's something that needs attention. It doesn't feed you right away, but it also helps boost your economy in the tourism world, because people say, oh, this is a country where they take care of their animals. That means they love their people too.
That's right.
It is psychologically something we got to remember.
I see they're doing some work now on Front Street in terms of placing concrete benches, etc., etc. I think that's parking prevention. I guess it is primarily because Front Street is getting out of hand. But Front Street is, in my opinion, ugly as it is because there's no maintenance. Well, what's your opinion of what's going on there?
Look, again, it's unfortunate that we're doing it 5 days before election. I think it's a good something.
Yeah.
Let us not take away from the program. The timing, timing says it all. If there was no elections on the 11th of January, there would have been no benches there. Look at the vendors market. Nothing. The people, they lose merchandise every day. Oh, listen, and I'm saying Front Street, Back Street, Boardwalk needs to be uplifted. It needs to be brought back to what it was. Right. The problem with when it was built was the maintenance aspect. And we warned for it. I was one of them. I was right there. I said, don't build what we can't maintain. Because if we can't maintain it, it's going to become shabby. And look at it today. Yeah. Because when you lay those bricks, you have to spray a sealant on it so water doesn't get in, so it doesn't deform. Right. But the sealant was extremely expensive, millions. So it created a problem eventually. Yeah. Now, these are the type of things that I'm saying. Front Street needs to be rebuilt in the sense that we need people to come and live in Front Street. We need life back in Front Street. We need proper lighting and proper security so that the businesses don't have to drop all those steel shutters every night, but that people can also walk through the town at night and look at the showcases. That's how it was 30 years ago. Why can't we go back there? What's wrong with that? We need to uplift Phillipsburg again. Yeah. Phillipsburg has lost its charm. That gone right now down to the Simpson Bay Strip, down to the Port of Kupakoy area. So Kupakoy area, that's where a lot of the movement has gone. Marigot, look at how they are building up.
That's right.
They're truly enhancing the town to keep the people in the town. At night, you could go to Marigot. They got a little truck selling food, all kind of things. Like it or not, it brings life to town.
But what do you think is Phillipsburg's issue? Why is it such a boogeyman place? What is it? One of it is lighting. That's one.
Lighting for sure, but there are too little people living from Midtown up to the head of town. There are too little people. There are a lot of people who used to live there. Yeah. All those families sold their properties or leased their properties and it became stores. Right. And then you have one or two little hotels in between. I think Horizon, and then you have Haunted House, because Pasangrang basically closed down now too. Yes. So you lose. So these hotels, they will function well on the boardwalk. Right. The boardwalk actually put Front Street in a quagmire position.
Oh, they still have to go through Front Street
to get to the boardwalk. But even though nowadays you can park by Bobby's Marina or park them by Walter Plants and walk the boardwalk. Yeah. So no, I'm saying we got to bring back on the second floor and third floor homes. Yeah. Let people live there. Yeah, sure, keep the business at the bottom. I understand that. Yeah. But parking is a disaster in town. And because safety is a factor, people get robbed and all that, because it's dark, you creating an environment that is dangerous, and that's what you don't want actually. So I'm saying there are different factors. I believe Valentine Davis with the police and different stakeholders, they keep coming together, but government has to take the lead. Yeah. It is our town. The government is responsible for the well-being of Phillipsburg, not merchants. Charge the merchants a fee if you want them to pay an upkeep fee. Correct. Then charge them. Correct. But we can't keep saying, but they got to do it. Take the lead. Correct. That's why you're the government. And, let's... Naturally, they'll pay because if they can stay open till 8 o'clock at night, why not? Why not? Yeah. Instead of having to put 10, 15 security with dogs on Front Street, why not? Yeah. Maybe we should make Front Street traffic free.
That was a plan.
And if we do that, we have to make it so that scooters can't pass either. Correct. So you got to create something to prevent the robberies using scooters, for example. And I'm saying, Mike, I don't have all solutions, but I am willing to work with people.
Right.
All the people that are living in Front Street now are parking in the alleys because there's no parking for them.
Right.
And we created a policy that they can build right up to the boundary.
Right.
Because when they built, Front Street had parking on the right side. The whole right side of Front Street was parking.
Right.
Today there is none. Maybe 10, 15 parkings, and all the parkings that were planned when they did this never materialized. So we started a project, but we never truly completed the project because we never brought the parking into play.
Yeah, I think town is so dark. I think whenever you travel, you see a lot of tourism towns in Miami, where Puerto Rico, wherever you go, they're well lit. You know, they light up, almost light up like day, like it's daytime. So I think and that helps alleviate that feeling of unsafety. Town feels unsafe.
That's why people go down to the strip now, because the strip is lit up. But it's lit up. Nobody don't pull down shutters at night.
No.
You drive the truck like in the morning, she light up.
Yeah.
You drive through Front Street truck like in the morning, you looking around and say, okay, where did they coming?
Yeah, exactly.
Car lock, windows up. That's the difference.
Yeah.
And I'm saying there's no need for that. We are doing as if we only got criminals roaming Front Street.
Correct.
That's not true. That's not true. Yeah. But if you create the opportunity for a criminal, he's going to make use of it.
That's right.
Look, same thing with the police. If you know the police understaffed and they only got one patrol out, but then all you got to do is two partners got to say, okay, you go down there, you commit a crime, and when they go down there, we're going to fix up here for you. Yeah. Let's be honest. Yeah. We got to manage better.
Right.
The problem with this government is they cannot manage. They believe that it is a picture-taking ceremony every day. No, it's not. You don't do these things for yourself. You're not writing a storybook for yourself. You're writing a storybook for the country. You're doing everything that you do as a minister, as a parliamentarian. You do that for the country. That's why you're paid. That's why you get a salary. Otherwise, you get a stipend. Right. But you get a good salary, a good pension, all those things. So I'm saying, let's be honest. And I have a lot of critics. Oh, you always this and all. But I work. Even when I'm not in Parliament, I work more than those in Parliament. Right. I can boldly state that because I have done it. My track record shows it. But it's election time, so sometimes I just look at Facebook and say, but I ain't see this troll before. I wonder whose profile this one is. Mm-hmm. Because, I always say, you want to criticize me? Criticize me. Yeah. But at least use your name. Stop being one of those ducks. Hiding behind a comical face.
You guys have another public meeting tonight?
Yes. Tonight we are going to be in town across Blue Point on the Ring Road.
Okay.
And we are expecting a good turnout. We have been getting a lot of... 7 o'clock, from 7 to 12, we are going to be on the Ring Road. Naturally, come down in droves, meet the people, shake hands, talk to your candidates, ask the questions you need asking. Yeah. And if we don't have the answer, we're going to get the answer for you. But you're not going to get a Nancy story. You're not going to hear stories from us on things. No. If we can do it, we will tell you how we can do it. And then it's up to you to tell us, I believe in you. Right. Because that's what has happened now, Mike. A lot of people started to believe in us with our manifesto because we were able to show how we are going to do it. Right. We're not going to talk about it alone. Right. Not talk about we're on crossroads. We are on no crossroads. We got a long way to go yet before we even reach crossroads. Right. We got a lot of fixing up to do, a lot of cleaning up to do. We got a 1.4 billion guilder debt. What crossroads are we at? We're at a crossroads of most probably being bankrupt completely. That crossroad. But we are not at a crossroads of, tomorrow is going to be a better day. We have not reached that crossroad yet. We got some fixing to do, and we got some belt tightening to do. Yeah. We got that.
You think that message has been resonating with your people?
Yes, and I think also with seniors. Okay. They have now realized that they are being taken for a ride. They are being abused. Promised a lot of things, and now just before elections are paying you all this and are giving you this. Come on, where was it 4 years ago? Where was it 2 years ago? Where was it a year ago? Yeah. Why 11 days before elections you're giving me my AOV increase? Why? This is the problem. And it's always, the governor didn't sign. And no, it reached. Please. Like they said, that pipeline, They need a gallon of Drano for that pipeline, boy. It's one of the best lines I heard.
Yeah.
Let me get a Drano for that pipeline, boy, because she properly clogged.
In our political history, to remember certain things certain people say.
Yeah.
That's going to be one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
I'm going to be one of them. Folks, can you just join us? We are in a conversation with MP Claudius Buncamper, number 2 on the Nation Opportunity Wealth Party. Just a few days away now, from the election.
That's right.
A few days for everybody.
We got besides today, we got 5 more hard campaigning days, and on the 11th is get the people to the polls.
Joe Claude used to say this is when the people start to pucker, and they used to say it a different way.
Well,
how
is that? They got plenty of sleepless nights now, boy.
Yeah.
People feeling the heat.
And then we got people who need oxygen.
Every time they have pop, they're looking up through the window.
Hey, you threw me off. You threw me off. Not all people threw me off. You threw me off there. Anyway, MP, we got your leader waiting to come in. He's going to come up any further. You're going to come back again. This isn't your last time.
No. Mike, I think Country Samaritan is on the vanguard of a change.
Yes.
We need a serious change. The now is that change. My leader, Christopher Emmanuel, is a man of principle.
Yes.
He has integrity, but most important, he has a damn backbone.
Yeah.
Because these others, they don't have no backbone. Anytime pressure hit, ja meneer, ja mevrouw, dankjewel, alles heel goed. Then they turn around and say, we're standing on we own. Yeah. And the first minute they get their hand open, they're begging Holland again. Thank God to Curacao that we ain't paying that 90 million for India. Otherwise, my grandchildren would have been indebted 20 years from now with 90 million. Mm-hmm. All because the shareholder, the Minister of Finance, afraid to fire those in central bank that need firing.
Yes.
That's why we prefer to secede, dollarize, and do we own things.
The central bank who do they apologize for their premature announcement for the currency.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
listen, they had it planned. Listen, you see, this is the lion thing that has killed me. I saw it this morning.
Yeah,
so suddenly now it's for March 2025.
Yeah.
But they ain't gonna be no March 2025 for them.
Then that makes a difference.
But I don't say man ain't gonna be part of that if it's up to us. We ain't gonna be part of that if it's up to us. Because St. Martin needs its own bank. Yeah. I want to talk to APS and see if there's a bank available to either buy, because I know First Caribbean Bank is available to buy right now. I understood they're selling, but even though there's a buyer already, but we can always create a bank with 700-800 million that is sitting in the bank accounts of APS or being used to invest abroad. You might also do it as a development bank in your own country and use that money, and you get more than the 30-year yield that you're getting now on the safe investments in abroad. So there are a lot of things that we can look at. And I think his name is Oscar Williamson. Yes, I think that's a very wise man, a very intelligent man, and I know he's hearing a lot of people talking, especially me. And I'm sure when the time is right, he can guide us the right way. Because we are no experts, but we can use our own experts. I don't need nobody in Kyoto, Aruba, or Holland to tell me how to do it. We have them here. Let's use those that we have here. Let's not disrespect like what we do on the airport. We keep bringing in Dutch CFOs and Dutch commercial directors while we have people here. We got people here to do it.
Last night, I announced here on the air, I don't know if you hear that, how the airport handlers and Harley
Juliana handlers and Harley Aviation have fought the airport with a fast track. They won it in courts, and they are I think they have to pay them $3,000 every day.
The airport now is putting out an RFP. For different companies to handle the same services these companies have for 20 years.
Because that's what it's all about, friends and family. Because the same up party, I understood, had a setting in Bel Air, and they invited a good gentleman to be the keynote speaker.
I heard that too.
A man that is destroying the local people of this country because he didn't say that the companies must be from here.
No, of course not.
Read these RFQs, these requests for proposals carefully. These guys are sick, man.
Whenever you see them put on an RFQ, like when you have two local companies, you know what the plan is.
Exactly.
You know what the plan is.
I mean, listen, and when I said, oh, you're against I against?
Yeah.
The man fired 15, 20 people. I hear even Koto get fired.
Yes.
And this is crazy.
Yeah.
Why? Because he talk on Facebook. Yeah. So you can't even express your opinion. Me and Koto, friend like that on Facebook because when he ready, he ransack my backside and I ransack him back. I don't care.
Yeah.
But you know what? If he said something about the company, call him and deal with it. Yeah. But no, you fire him, take the bread out his mouth. The man got children to feed, This is my problem. We keep firing local people to replace them with those that shouldn't be here. I got a problem with that. Yeah. Because I can't go in other countries and sit in management positions like this. Yeah. Sure, we always desire it, and some of us do get through. Yeah. But here it has become the norm. Yeah. It is becoming the norm, and that's a problem.
I'll keep eyeing that RFQ thing. Because
definitely.
I don't think airport handlers in Hollywood should.
No, they shouldn't back down.
Should back down. Or even go through that.
No. Again, like I said, come January 11th, you need change? Vote now. Vote it now. Right. And you're going to have change because he's going to be the first one flying off at the airport. And if we got to pay him out, we're going to pay him out. Yep. So you know from now.
Folks, that is Claudius Buncamper, number 2 and now party. Don't forget tonight.
Take care.
Now it's at the Ring Road across from Blue Point.
Correct.
For their second public meeting. Go out, speak to the candidates, hear what the manifesto is about. And just mingle with them.
Exactly. Thanks, Mike. And see you all, I think. I'm back here on the 9th and the 10th, someplace there. Yeah. All right. Take care.
Keep it locked.